More than 200 years ago, Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm published a book of fairy tales that are still considered classics, including Snow White, Rapunzel, Sleeping Beauty, and more.
A new book chronicles the history of the Brothers Grimm, including the fact that these stories were never intended for children. It's called The Brothers Grimm, a biography, and author Anne Schmiesing joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning.
They were not intended for kids?
Well, they were not intended exclusively for children. The Grimms saw them as contributing to a better understanding of German cultural heritage. They intended them for scholars as well as for children. But so many of these tales are not the types of things that we might today consider to be suitable for children. They're some of them a bit more violent than what you're going to find in Disney retellings, for example, a bit darker.
Yeah, and so I was also surprised to learn they didn't write them. So what did they do?
That's right. That's one of the many myths about the Brothers Grimm. There are myths that they either went directly into the fields and got tales directly from the mouths of peasants and wrote them down, or that they authored them exclusively themselves. And actually, they did neither. By and large, what they're doing is they're collecting tales from educated townspeople. Relatively few are coming directly from peasants. And then they significantly changed the tales. They edited them. So they collected them and then edited them.
How did these get so dark, a lot of them? You know, some of them you have to change it up for the kids these days and Disney-fy them. But I mean, some of these were really, you know, the Hansel and Gretel alone, they're throwing someone in an oven, Cinderella, you're pecking people's eyes out with the, how did it get so dark?
That's right. Well, one of the things that's so interesting about the changes that the Grimms are making to their tales is that in several cases, they're actually intensifying the violence of the tales. And they did that in part to teach a moral lesson. So you mentioned the doves pecking out the stepsister's eyes at the end of Cinderella. That's one of the changes they made. In the first edition, that doesn't happen, but they intensified the punishment to teach a moral lesson.
And correct me if I don't have this quite right, but it seems another one of their motives was to have this unified culture for the German people, which were, you know, these separate entities at the time. Did that work? And how do you explain that flowing into a couple of generations of wars coming out of Germany?
Yeah, so they lived at a time when Germany was a patchwork of principalities, and they really believed that their fairy tales and their other works would help to bring about the political unification of Germany. That didn't happen until several years after their deaths, but they thought that by raising to the fore this German heritage, that would help with political unification. But they knew that many of their tales are not, strictly speaking, German. Many of them, for example, also have French influence.
How did they endure and make their way around the world?
That's right. They have endured so much to the point that the Grimm's fairy tales are the most translated German book today, and also they're among the top dozen most translated authors in the world. So quite an amazing legacy.
Was there any blowback when Disney pretty much took them all and turned them into major motion pictures? Is there some, you know, German cultural, minister or some estate for the family?
Well, I think what's really interesting is that if you look at the German context, you have in East Germany, you had a very lively film tradition of turning Grimm fairy tales into films in East Germany. So what you see in terms of, you know, films in 20th century Germany, at least, is this East German film tradition. So not so much Disney, but of course Disney now known around the world as well, and the substantial changes that Disney makes to the Grimm.
But there's no rights issues here, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, because they didn't write them.
Well, that in and of itself was an interesting question during the Grimm's lifetimes, because towards the end of their lives, there actually were some, there was one edition in particular where somebody took many of their tales and republished them. And so the Grimm's were involved in some legal wranglings over that.
Oh, I get, all right, but to Larry's point, we're not going to hear of, like, you know, Josh Grimm coming and
Yeah.
suing Disney, right?
Because I'd be rooting for Josh over Disney, but it doesn't
If you look at Snow White, the Disney version of Snow White, you'll see in the opening credits there is a reference to the Brothers Grimm.
Well, a reference, but I doubt there's a paycheck.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Amy. It's nice to talk to you. The book is The Brothers Grimm, a biography. Have a good day.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.